Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining us, or joining me. I'm waiting for Thomas because I just had to send him the link again, but we should see him shortly here. And let me get the party started here with the official bell. So welcome, everybody. So looking around here, I think I don't see any guests except for our presenter today. So welcome, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
He's in his studio somewhere, waiting.
I saw him somewhere, but now I'm missing him. But we'll catch up to him.
Yes, we will.
And let me share my presentation here.
Hader is here.
Oh, good morning, Hader.
Hyder.
Thank you.
And Barbara Browning's a guest.
Good morning.
Go. That's right.
Thanks for having me, folks.
Thanks, Hyder. And good morning, Barbara. Sorry, I'm going to pull this so I could see more faces. Here we go. So the raffle this morning, Venmo $5 to Rotary Club Dash Arcata Sunrise, and the $25 gift certificates are still up for grabs. And we still have a pot. And Nick, I believe that's growing up to $80. Is that right?
Yep, $80.
So send in those, send $5 to Venmo and win yourself some gift certificates and some cash. A nice healthy pot there. Looks like Thomas was able to join us. Good morning, Thomas. We're able to see you this time.
Hey, yeah, I think it should be good. Yeah, so, well, I have some news. We are gonna, the lockdown is gonna be lifted like next Monday, actually, so I'm pretty excited about it. But like for now, you just like can't really go outside pretty much. So like I can't really take pictures. Like I can just like go down my street and that's all pretty much. But next week I will be able to like go in for bike ride and stuff like that. Well, it depends because like in France we have different like counties that are like more affected in different like regions, and like we have the most like case of coronavirus I think in my region, which is pretty bad. So I don't really know how it's gonna be the thing. I guess we'll be able to do more stuff, but I think like businesses are gonna still be like closed or something. So I don't really know yet. Really depends. Like we have more information like every like day by day pretty much. So but
Interesting. So it opens up tomorrow?
it's not it's Monday. And like there is a map you can find on the there's the French government that gave a map, and like you have France and all the counties, and some of them like green and some of them are red, and basically the green ones can pretty much reopen everything, and the red ones still have to have some like stuff closed, but there is more and more like things you can do, so we just have to wait. That's all.
Little by little, yeah. Anybody have questions for Thomas?
How are your parents doing, Thomas?
Well, they're doing pretty good. So my dad works in a retirement home. He's the director of the retirement home. So he has to go to work like pretty much every 2 or 3 days, I think. And like he got a test and it was negative, so it was fine. They didn't have any like symptoms and stuff like that, so they're doing well.
Good. Marty and the cat say hi.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate the update. Sounds like since you'll be able to get out next week, you'll be able to share some photos and see.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try to like, cause we cannot even ride our bikes right now, but next week we will be able to do that. So I just want to like go around, just take some pictures, because we do have like there is actually a pretty big monuments in the forest like next to my town pretty much. So if I can go there, I can take some picture and talk about it.
That would be
It could be
wonderful.
very interesting.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Thomas, again.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to some recognitions here. I don't know if Brett was able to join us this morning. Not seeing him. So we'll catch him again, perhaps next time. So Howard, this was an interesting photo you had posted. What was the inspiration here? Is Howard out there? I don't see Howard either. Okay, well, I'll catch him again next time. Is Tammy out there? No. Okay. Well, there's a bear.
You're not sharing your screen anymore, AJ.
Oh, I'm not?
I'm still seeing it.
I see it.
Maybe it's my fault. Sorry, never mind.
I can see it.
My fault.
There's a bear in the middle of this photo, and I think there's a good story behind that, but we'll catch that next time, as well as this photo. I think she's having some fun during quarantine. Charlie, are you out there? I'm not seeing her either. We'll have to catch her next time, but looks like a little inspiration from last year. This year, they are moving to an kinetic Grand Championship kinetic sculpture in place. Steve, I saw you out there. I know that your vehicle's in retirement, but not sure if you know any more about how to participate in this year's Grand Championship.
Yeah, there's a whole event happening. The sculpture in place race is really going to be an interesting one. There's information on the website for it, but there's a series of different in-place challenges and videos people have to submit and so forth. There's going to be a rutabaga ball before the quote race. There's going to be a rutabaga queen. I don't know exactly how it's going to work with like trophies and everything, even though I've retired from the race. I sold my machine, which would have been in the race this year, but isn't going to be. But I still have the trophy in my house. I was kind of hoping maybe I would move it on. It's been in my house for 3 years, and now it looks like it's going to be in my house for another year. So I get to have this, 4-foot thing next to my piano again for another year.
I can kind of chime in a little bit on the judging and the trophies and stuff. At least for the art, we're going to be doing stuff that is going to be manageable to ship, and it'll be lightweight. So it's going to be an interesting challenge, but there will be some awards.
It looks like the dates are later this month, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and online live streaming. So stay tuned there. And as we learn more, I'll share more. So, Mr. Foster, I missed you last week.
Did I do something worth recognizing?
I think you were showing us how to protect ourselves. No? Can you see the photo?
Hey, Greg, thanks for not showing us a picture of where you put the UV light.
You're muted. Oh.
Here you go. That is a, okay, so it's don't. I ran a scientific test with a few different cleaners, a few different methods, and really the results, I would have to say, were both, I guess, ineffective and devastatingly painful. Although I did have delicious lavender scented breath for a matter of time. But I did a little Google research, which is how everybody is now doing, or Facebook research on the coronavirus. and found that really that is not the way to deal with it. So I probably should have read it a little bit first. I'm learning. So yeah, don't. And my toilet's a mess now because I'm out of Clorox cleaner. So it's terrible.
Thank you for sharing. Karen, you've been fairly busy. I appreciate all the photos, and you've been outside of spending some time in your garden, collecting a lot of cool history about our amazing club. And here are just a couple of the photos to give us a little sneak preview into what's to come. But Brisket Blarney Brew and former or older Taste of the Holidays ads are all being compiled into an amazing historical at a glance. And here's just a little taste of my page, but she has pages for each president and the events that took place their year. Karen, do you want to share how things have been going? I can unmute you. Oh no, I can't.
There we go. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, and I sent you an updated page last night with your official photo, AJ. But this is a project, honestly, that I've been working on for years and years, and decided that now was the time to finish because I have all this documentation in my office that I trip over every day, and I need to finish this project. But it was started on a suggestion from Craig Newman that somebody just go through all the past board minutes and collect all the resolutions that the board has done over the years. And, you know, so I thought, oh, that'll be easy. No problem. Well, when I got into it, I realized it would be nice. It would be really nice to have a picture just at a glance of each year of that I could, you know, and I've used pictures mostly that I've taken, so they're not the best. I've lifted a few off of Dick's Sunrise Spirit, and I've asked a few people for some pictures, but mostly it's from my little history of pictures. And I've got about, I don't know, 4,000 Rotary pictures. So it just all sits in my computer. Nobody could see it. So I started working on this project, and I hope that somebody will take it on and keep it up and not have to catch up on 27 years of Arcata Sunrise Rotary.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, it's amazing work, and it's amazing. It's so interesting to see all the history and the different themes and the different projects. So I can't wait to roll that out here shortly. And I'm imagining this can make it to the website for our all of our members to see. So thank you so much, Karen. Howard, I see that you joined us, but your screen has gone black. And I wanted to come back to this photo if that was possible. And I'll try to unmute you. How's that?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm on my smartphone right now. So you like our Grant Woods Arcata Gothic
Yes.
artwork? My wife's a country farmer these days. And I hold the hay fork. That's my job.
Imagine you guys were out in the garden and just inspired.
Yeah, my wife is converting our 2 acres of pasture into a farm with a chicken coop, with an orchard surrounded by a deer fence, with hedgerows, and we're sharing our pasture with community members. We have 3 different people leasing at no cost a part of our pasture. One person's putting in a greenhouse, another person is putting in a garden, and a family is using half of our pasture for sheep, for their sheep, which we just had a baby lamb born. So lots of activity around here. And we also lead the, along with Scott Heller, lead the howling at 8 o'clock at night every evening.
Nice.
So that's the news from here.
Well, thank you, Howard, for sharing. Thought it was an interesting photo, and I appreciate the inspiration there.
Thank you.
So moving on to supporting our local businesses. I picked this up from my sister. So pick 3 and spend $50 to help your local economy here. So what 3 independently owned businesses would you miss if they disappeared? So go stop in, say hello, pick up something, and it brings you a smile. And if half the population spent $50 each month in locally independent businesses, it would generate 42 billion in revenue. And then for every $100 spent locally, $68 returns to the community, where with the bigger companies or big box, it's 43, and online it's nothing. So, and it only takes one person to start this trend. So Maggie sent me this menu from Chris Casaro, one of our caterers that supports us over the years from our events to taste. And so she has boxed meals that I believe are deliverable or available for pickup. And she has a menu that I can share, and it's got quite a few options. So if you're interested, I can forward the email and offer you that menu so you can take a look and see what we could do to support Chris and I'm sure get a healthy lunch. And then Bill Chino sent me his menu, and so you could see what he's offering each evening for $10. You get quite a decent meal. I think there's a lot of advocates out there who've already tasted his wares, and I don't know if anybody want to give him a plug at the moment. Heard the ribs are really good.
I had the fried chicken and pot roast. Both were really good.
He also is offering a wonderful Mother's Day brunch.
Nice. Well, his phone number is there at the top. I'm sure he makes it really easy, and he's super safe. So check him out. And then I found this online. I go to the co-op fairly frequently, and Maggie, Area 1 Agency for Aging, is one of the Seeds for Change programs. I don't know if you'd like to say anything there.
Yeah, we had big plans for this month in terms of trying to pull together some donations for our home share program, which is matching folks who have housing with people who need housing. And so the funds that we were going to receive for this, we're going to go to that project. We are still taking applications. We are still going through the process of working on matches for folks when we find people who want to match. And you know, housing is always a challenge, and it's going to be very different now depending on what happens with the university. But so if anybody shops there, please round up as many times as you can so that we can get a little bit for that program. Thank you.
And thanks to those who joined our first virtual happy hour last night. I think I heard some folks are already they're picking up groceries, and they're going to the places they've never been before. But Maggie, I wanted to ask how that program was going and to see if you still needed additional drivers or any more assistance.
Yeah, we are still shopping for folks, and we have, I think there's 5 or 6 Rotarian volunteers who are helping us in different parts of the community. We've put, we're streamlining it a little bit, making it a little easier because to get information to people, because we have a feeling this is going to be a long-term thing we're going to need to do. So the other thing we're really concerned about is when things start opening up a bit, all the people who had doctor's appointments for the last 3 months that weren't able to go to those appointments are now going to need to go. And while our clients are going to need to get to their appointments, our volunteer drivers, who are mostly older folks, may not be ready to start driving again. So we are going to, we really need drivers for the program to get people to their doctor's appointments. And the neat thing about that program is that volunteers sign up for, they pick and choose what appointments they want to do. So you do what works in your schedule. So if anybody wants to sign up to help with that as we start opening up again, you know, they're typically Monday through Friday appointments, but you can pick what fits your schedule. We really need volunteers for that. So I just want to put that out because these folks they need to see their doctors and they haven't been doing that. So it's going to be a bit of a crunch. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to see more photos. I think most of what I'm picking out is what I'm seeing on the media, social medias, but please send me anything that you have going on. I love to share with the club any of the exciting things that are happening out there. I think I saw a photo this morning that Tomas is out camping, so hopefully I'll catch up with him getting away. But please send photos to arcs.recognitions@gmail.com or directly to myself. So the stimulus challenge is going pretty well. I got an update from Sophie, and so far we've raised $6,440. So thank you everybody who's contributed so far. And Andreas put out a challenge. If we got to 10,000, he's going to write us an article for the Rotary magazine. So I'd love to see us hit that figure. Not sure if everybody's gotten their stimulus check yet or if they have plans for it, but if you could spare a little bit, it's all going to Food for People to ensure that we could provide for our local community here. So thank you again for those who've donated. So some upcoming events. So I think I heard about something tragic this week that happened back in February. And so in a show of support, if you want to run, walk, jog in isolation anywhere, today is his birthday. Ahmad, I guess this was a senseless act of violence. And so if you have something to howl about or something to think about, join in, take some photos, and hashtag run with Ahmad. So another plug for the Feed the ER and howling each night. I have something personal. Like my sister's been in the hospital recently with having a tumor removed, and so she's leaving the hospital today. So a lot to celebrate. She's on her path to recovery, and just wanted to share my sister's experience and give you, if there's a reason to howl, I know there's plenty of them, but just sharing what I'm out there howling about. So anybody else want to share? Sounds good. So just a reminder, there's going to be a 2020 Rotary Virtual Convention the end of June. I don't have any more information about that, but stay tuned. So at this moment, I'll turn this over to Carol. I don't know if you want to introduce our program today.
Sure. I'm really excited to introduce my husband as our speaker today. Living with him is definitely an art project in and of itself. It's wonderful. He graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. He's a fourth generation baker from Iowa, so I enjoy many of his skilled baked goods, and he has been, his passion has been animation, and some of you may know him for being the rubber stamp guy. He's out of the rubber stamp business, really focusing more on his animation. And I am going to turn it over to my husband, Stephen Vandermeer.
Steve, I did turn you over as host, so feel free to share.
All right, I will be sharing my screen in a moment here. I just want to start by telling you that how I got my start in animation and what kind of animation that I do. A lot of people, when I tell them I do animation, they start thinking immediately Disney or SpongeBob SquarePants and stuff like that, but I don't do that kind of animation. I do animation as art, so it's like painter paints, musician sings. I do animation as my art. It's a form of self-expression, and I'm gonna tell you how I got my start, and I'm gonna show you little snippets from about eight of my films. They're all very short, but I'm just gonna show you 30 seconds of each one. And then if you like them, you can go on my website, stephenvandermeer.com, and you can watch the whole films. And they're all less than 10 minutes, so it's really, you could probably watch all of my work in less than an hour if you binge watched it. But a funner suggestion might be, like, if you have a movie night at your house, bring up one of my short films and watch it before the movie. It's kind of fun. So like Carol said, I went to the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. I graduated in 1985. And a year later, I had an opportunity to come out to Arcata, and it was only going to be for 3 months, and I thought I'd make my first film. And I was surprised to learn that you can't make a 9-minute film in 3 months. It took me 18 months to make that film. It's called Arcata Brain Closet, and it's an alphabetical film. And it's my first film on index cards, which I got some around here someplace. I animate by drawing on little index cards, which is kind of unusual, but it's kind of fun because you can sort of flip them like a flip book. And then I scan each index card and put it on the computer to put them together. And so I'm going to show you a snippet right now of my first film, Arcata Brain Closet, which was completed in 1988. Let's see. So you can see in the corner, down in the corner of the screen, you might see this little, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little box with numbers in it. And I actually made a rubber stamp, because I used to be a rubber stamp maker, and I stamp each card with that little box, and then I number the drawings. And it's kind of a fun way to point out the fact that what you're seeing are 12 little drawings by hand every second. So that film was 9 minutes long, and it took, like, I think 4,200 and something of these little drawings. And it's really inspired by my life, you know, just things that happen. It's an alphabetical film, like I said, and there's a little tiny short film within the film for each letter of the alphabet, and it's all stuff that just happened to me. So my next film was, it's called Beings from Another Planet, and this one's kind of silly because I was so happy and excited about the, the sort of success that the first film had. It played at film festivals, including the Sundance Festival, and it got some awards and some money. And I was so high on that success that I want to make another film right away. And I got inspired at a barbecue where I had too much tequila, and I made this film. I'm used to doing Q&As at film festivals and things and seeing the audience react. So this is kind of weird on Zoom. You're seeing this, right? And people can hear the sound? Okay, good. We did some tests and it wasn't always smooth. So after that film, which was 1992, I started Mirror Image Rubber Stamp Company, and I went down a rabbit hole. I've made rubber stamps for over 25 years, and Carol and I got engaged at a rubber stamp festival. Our honeymoon was at a rubber stamp festival convention, and it just, having an art business sucks your whole life. I went for I think it was 17 years without doing any animation. Carol encouraged me to get back into it, and so right around 2007, I think, is when I did my next film, and it's called More from Life, and it's one of those daily drawing projects. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but a lot of artists do a daily drawing project where they just do one little drawing a day just to keep things flowing, right? And so I took my little packet of index cards around with me in my pocket every day for a year, and I drew a drawing on an index card. In the drawing, the only rule is that the drawing had to be from life. And it didn't need to be alive. It needed to be not out of my head, something I was looking at. There are a lot of self-portraits, there are a lot of figure drawings, there's a lot of drawings from travel, and there's inane things like a toothbrush. But what I did was I drew one drawing a day, 365 drawings, and then I morphed each drawing one to the next. And a morph is when one drawing melts into another. And there's only 15 drawings in between each, so the morph is fairly quick. At 12 drawings per second, that's about a 1 1/3 second morph. But so you're going to see 365 morphs in a row if you watch the whole film. But I'm just going to show you 30 seconds of it right here. So I just want to also say right now that in my filmmaking, music is really important to me. I'm not a musician, but I like working with musicians to add music to my films. Or in the case of this next film, well, no, actually that's true with the next film. The next film is called Salmon Deadly Sins, and I licensed music to add to this film from a band called Leftover Salmon. And this film is drawn on salmon-colored index cards. And the reason it's drawn on these is because I was looking for index cards on eBay, and I found some salmon ones really cheap. And then I got inspired by another artist named Kent Bellows about doing an art project about the 7 deadly sins. So I combined these two ideas and made the Salmon Deadly Sins. So here's a snippet from that. That was a fun film to make. That took about 3 years. And during that film, Carol and I bought the building that I'm in right now and did a renovation and made it into my new studio. So it was quite a year, or 3 years. Anyway, as I said, music's very important. And up until Salmon Deadly Sins, I'd always either hired musicians to write music, or in the case of Salmon Deadly Sins, I licensed music to add. And what I always wanted to do was start with music and draw to it. So it's the opposite of what I've done. And so there's a local band called the Absinthe Quintet, and I knew the guys, and I told them one time that I was looking for music to animate to, and they said, "Oh boy, we got a song for you. Check this out." And they gave me Boomerang.
It's no coincidence when it happens this way. It's no coincidence when it happens this way. It's no coincidence when it happens this way. Make yourself comfortable. Enjoy your stay. Enjoy your stay. Yeah.
I had a blast making that film, and it was very different because I let the music and the lyrics inspire me, and I listened to them and came up with ideas based on those, and it was a really different way of working for me, and really loved it. The next film is called Random Thoughts, and it's inspired by my experiences at film festivals. That film, I worked with a local musician, sound guy by the name of Corey Goldman, and we worked on it simultaneously. Like, I would get a piece of film done and give it to him, and he'd start putting music and sounds to it. And he did it. He was giving me banjo lessons at the time, and we talked about animation, and he told me that he always wanted to do music to animation, just like I've always wanted to do animation to music. So it was a pretty good collaboration there. So then, now all these films up till now have been done on the little index cards, like I said. I also now have an iPad, and the next film is another one of those daily drawing projects, only I did it on my iPad, and instead of 1 drawing a day, I did 12 drawings a day, and 12 drawings is 1 second of animation. So this next film, if you watch the whole thing, is 365 seconds long, and it's linear in that I drew the drawings in order, 12 a day, and they're all just out of my head. I just kind of made stuff up as I went along. So it's kind of random. And then when I got it done, it was just kind of a fun project, to keep me drawing every day. When I got it done, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And another musician friend of mine said, oh, I got a new music studio and I got some buddies. Why don't you let us have that film and we'll put some music to it? So they did. And it just came together. So here's a little snippet of that. There's no computer animation. It is drawn on my iPad, but it's drawn with an Apple Pencil by hand, frame by frame. I don't let the computer do any of my animation because I want to do that. It's fun. Okay, so the last snippet I'm going to show you is a film called Lost Lula, and it also is drawn on my iPad. And this is another music video. This is Lost Lula is the name of the song, and it came from a couple of musician friends of mine. And it's an instrumental, so it's just, and the imagery on this one is taken from my life drawing. Now, I've done life drawing in Arcata since 1997. That's when I started the Arcata Life Drawing Circle. And so a bunch of people get together every week and draw a model from life. And for this film, I started drawing the models on my iPad and then animating them. So here's what that looks like. So that is that. Can you see this? I was going to show this. This is just I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see that. This is a chunk of drawings from one of my films, Salmon Deadly Sins, and it's just to demonstrate how you can flip them like a flip book. It's what I do when people come into my studio, or when I go to film festivals, I put one of these in my pocket, and it's a good icebreaker and conversation starter. If there's time, I'd like to take any questions that anybody might have.
Stephen, you might want to stop sharing your screen so that you will be bigger if people want to ask.
Right. There.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, behind Carol, if you can see her on the wall, are prints of sequences of some of my films.
See a comment about being on Access Humboldt recently in the chat.
Oh, how do I see that? Do I click on chat?
Yes.
Oh yeah, one of your members, Amy Scolari, she's in one of my films, Lost Lula. She's in there. Hi, Amy.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, that last image was me. That was pretty cool.
Hey, Steve, I'm wondering if you sell your work.
Oh, good question. No. Making money with short films is extremely difficult. There's not a real big market for it. Most filmmakers make short films as kind of a stepping stone in order to get funding for a feature film. I'm not looking towards making a feature film because, it takes me 2 or 3 years to make one of these. In a feature film, I'm not sure I have that much time left in my life. So I'm not looking to make a feature film. Putting these short films on compilations and making a few cents here and there, or streaming, it's just like, I'd rather get them out there, and I'd rather people see them. So I just put them on my website for free. I've done a tiny bit of commercial animation over the years. I don't look for it. Sometimes I do it if it suits me, but I don't try to make a job out of this.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Do we have any other questions out there for Steve?
Hey, this is his biased partner here. Anyway, Stephen, you should show I want you to show how you store your index cards briefly before we wrap up. I think it's kind of clever.
So I've been in love with little index cards since high school. I did my term papers on them, and then in college I used them to sketch on, and then I started making films on them. So this is my library card catalog, and you can see it has 1 through 5. It's got 30 drawers, and they're all full.
Wow.
These are all drawings, and it goes, like I said, it goes back to 1988 and all the way up to my latest stuff down here. I'm very organized. When people come in my studio, they can't believe it. They say, "You're the most organized artist I've ever seen." Here's my storyboard. That's where I map out. I got a film going right now called Notice of Rejection, and so I've got kind of a storyboard mapped out over there. And it's magnetic. And then this is my little animation nook where I have a light table, and I can put drawings on that little light box there and see through them as I draw. So that's the 2-second
I
studio
have a
tour.
question. Steve, do you occasionally apply for grants or apply to go to an art retreat such as the Morris Graves homestead?
I applied for a grant once, the Victor Jacobi grant, and I got it with Carol's help because she's a professional grant writer. But that's the only time I've done it. Actually, making films on index cards is extremely cheap. Once you have the computer to put them all together, there's very little cost involved. The biggest cost is licensing the music or paying musicians. So yeah, kind of, but not regularly.
Steve, there's a question in the chat. How did you learn to draw?
Like we started out saying, I did go to art school. However, I almost flunked drawing. I was really into photography back then. So I didn't do that much drawing in art school, but as I mentioned earlier, I did start the Arcata Life Drawing Circle in 1997. And so I've been drawing every Thursday night since then. And that kind of weekly practice will get you some skills. Also, drawing thousands of drawings for films will also give you some good practice.
And so skills, yeah.
Self-taught, basically, yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Steve, has anyone else taken on this art form of short films since you've started it?
Well, there's thousands of people making short films. When I started, it was hard because you had to do 16 millimeter and have a lab and do all that kind of stuff. Now, tons of people are making short films because it's so accessible with the technology. You can make a pretty good high quality short film with an iPhone these days, which when I first started, that was just unthinkable. So yeah, I mean, I'm not the one who started this. There are tons of people doing this. No one that I know does it, this way. But,
oh, that's what I was wondering. If
on index cards?
On the note cards, yeah.
I don't know of anyone personally who's doing it on note cards, but I didn't come up with the idea myself. I heard about back in college days. One of my professors said, "Oh, there's this guy that did a film on index cards," and it kind of caught my attention. So it's been done by somebody here and there, but I don't know of anybody who's doing it like full time, like on a regular basis. So I'm not real sure.
As someone who can't stay focused more than 37 seconds at a time, it's very impressive. So, but I am a numbers guy. I'm very interested. How many total index cards do you think you've drawn on? Order of magnitude.
Oh gosh, one time I'm a numbers guy too, and I think I tried to add that up one time years ago. You could do it because on my website, all my films are listed, and part of the information on each page for each film is the number of index cards. So you could actually go through and add them up, but that doesn't account for all like when I get a film done, I have this many cards make the film, and there's probably about this many what I call scratch cards, which are not in the film, but I drew on them as part of the process. So you can take that number, add them up on my website, take that number and just about double it. It's it's probably around 50,000 or something. That's just a wild guess.
Wow,
it's a lot.
I would do it, but that seems like it takes a long time. I don't want to do the math. I'm sorry, I don't have the attention.
Any other questions?
Early.
Steve, didn't you create the Chango character for Los Bagels? Was that right?
Well, I didn't create that character, but I did draw it a lot, and I used it in I made an animation for Los Bagels, and I used that character, and I also adapted that character. It's the little squirrel-looking thing. For those of you who don't know what Chango is, Los Bagels logo has a little squirrel thing in it, and I adapted that design and made various other designs that they've used. And consequently, everyone thinks I designed the Los Bagels logo, but I didn't. I've just done a lot of their other graphics. And you can see that on my website too. There's a section of other work outside of films. There's like the Los Bagels commercial, Wild Berries commercial, a couple other things. Those are kind of fun to watch.
Any other questions out there? Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing. I love the animations, the music, so inspirational. I think it's great. Similar to what Karen's doing, some pandemic inside time to, I remember when I was in high school doing the same thing, either with Post-its or something, coming up with the animations that way, but so fun and creative. I appreciate it. So thank you. And thanks, Carol, for recommending him. So
thank you.
So let me share my screen again here, and we will go to the raffle. How are we looking, Nick?
Pretty good. Let's see what who's going to be the winner today. Right, and it's Ed. Let's see if Ed's going to be the big winner.
Wahoo!
Take $80 plus 2 gift certificates. No, $5. So I'll send that to you, Ed, on Venmo, and next week will be $90.
Thank you.
Gift cards.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
So I'll leave us with a little photo of my mom and myself. I'm going to try to beat Amy to the punch because I think she's kind of trying to put these together for a debunking later. So I think I'll just let it out. If you want to reach out to your mom via Zoom, I know that we're all sheltering in place and you want to be able to connect, feel free to let me know. And this will give you more participants and more time to spend with your family or your mother. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And thank you again for joining us this morning, and have a good Friday. Thank you, everybody.